Everyone has this dream inside of them. Yes, I want to develop the mind. But how do I do it? Let's cut the fluff. You're here because life feels like a storm. Stress shaking your focus, distractions stealing your peace, and doubt whispering, "You can't handle this." The Buddhist master once said, "The mind is not your enemy. It's a weapon you forgot to wield." Think about that. Right now, billions are drowning in chaos, chasing shortcuts to calm, while ancient secrets, forbidden in their simplicity, sit untouched. Why? Because society told you strength means grinding harder, screaming louder, clinging tighter. What if you're dead wrong? Here's the cold truth. Your anxiety, your burnout, your crumbling focus, they're not flaws, they're alarms. Signals that you've ignored rules carved into stone by warriors and monks who mastered the art of standing firm in hurricanes. Rules so potent, they've been hidden for centuries. Rules like why suffering is your greatest ally, or why true power demands surrender. Sounds impossible? That's the trap. What if I told you the seventh rule forces you to become a warrior without throwing a single punch? Or that the final bonus lesson, buried at the end, could dissolve your fear of failure in 30 seconds? Skeptical? Good. That means you're awake. This isn't theory. This is a blueprint. In the next 15 minutes, you'll learn why Buddha said, "Nothing can harm you as much as your own thoughts." And by the end, you'll either walk away unshakable or stay stuck in the same storm. No middle ground. If you miss out the bonus lesson, you'll regret it more than the chances you didn't take. So, if you're going to get one thing out of this video, let it be this: your chaos is a choice. The first rule starts now. Balance the mind and body. A monk once asked his teacher, "Why do I still feel restless even after years of meditation?" The teacher pointed at a tree and said, "Your mind is the branches, always reaching, always moving. But your roots are weak." The monk finally understood. His practice was focused only on the mind, neglecting the body that carried him through life. In today's world, this imbalance is everywhere. People chase mental clarity, but fuel their bodies with stress and neglect. Others build physical strength, but let their minds crumble under anxiety. What we forget is this: the mind and body are not separate, they are one. A tree cannot stand tall if its roots are weak, just as the mind cannot thrive if the body is exhausted. Buddhism teaches that harmony between the two is the foundation of resilience. The Buddha himself emphasized the middle path. Not extreme indulgence, not severe self-denial, but balance. Your breath is the bridge between body and mind. Your movement is the expression of inner stillness. When you align these elements, you become unshakable. But look around. Modern life pulls you away from this balance. You overthink, you stress, you push your limits. The result? A restless mind in a tired body. You lose patience. You snap at loved ones. You feel drained before the day even begins. This suffering comes from ignoring a simple truth. When one side weakens, the whole foundation cracks. So how do you fix it? You start with awareness. Pay attention to your breath. It reveals the state of your mind. Is it shallow, rushed, chaotic? Then so is your thinking. Slow it down. Deepen it. Feel the shift. Next, move with purpose. Stretch, walk, exercise. Not for appearance, but for alignment. Strengthen your roots so your mind can rise. And most importantly, listen. Your body speaks in tension, in fatigue, in discomfort. Instead of silencing it with caffeine or distractions, ask, what does it need? Rest, nourishment, movement. Honor it, and it will repay you with resilience. There's a reason Buddhist monks practice walking meditation, mindful eating, and physical discipline. They understand that wisdom is not just in the mind, but in how you carry yourself through the world. When your body is strong, your mind can endure. When your mind is clear, your body can heal. This is balance. And here's the twist. Self-care isn't selfish. It's survival. It's how you become a vessel for strength, not just for yourself, but for those who depend on you. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot lift others if you are crumbling under your own weight. So ask yourself, when was the last time you truly prioritized both mind and body? Not one, not the other, both. Reflect on this. Share your thoughts below. And if you're ready to take action, start small. A deep breath, a mindful walk, a moment of stillness before the chaos. Because when your roots are strong, no storm can break you. Rule 2. Interdependence is strength. A man once traveled to a remote monastery seeking enlightenment. For years, he meditated in solitude, believing strength meant standing alone. One day, a storm hit. The roof of his small hut collapsed, leaving him exposed to the relentless rain. As he sat shivering, a monk approached and offered shelter. The man hesitated. Wasn't independence the path to strength? The monk smiled and pointed at a nearby bridge. That bridge stands because of many pillars, he said. Remove one, and it falls. In today's world, independence is celebrated, but isolation is a hidden poison. Society teaches you to be self-sufficient, to never rely on anyone. You carry burdens alone, convinced that asking for help is weakness. But Buddhism teaches the opposite. Interdependence is the foundation of strength. Even monks who dedicate their lives to self-mastery live in communities. They cook together, chant together, support each other in moments of doubt. They understand a fundamental truth. No one stands unshaken alone, yet modern life convinces you otherwise. You fight battles in silence, pretending to be fine while stress eats away at you. You convince yourself that no one will understand, that you must figure it all out alone. But isolation doesn't make you strong. It makes you brittle. The mind, left to struggle alone, becomes a prison of fear and doubt. The strongest people in history, from spiritual leaders to warriors, leaned on others. The Buddha himself had his community of seekers who supported and challenged him. So why do you resist? Maybe pride gets in the way. Maybe past betrayals have made you cautious. Or maybe you've been conditioned to believe that needing others is a sign of weakness. But here's the twist. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the bravest form of strategy. It takes courage to admit, I need help. It takes wisdom to surround yourself with people who lift you when you stumble. Think of the bridges you've crossed in life. Each one stood because of multiple pillars working together to hold the weight. Alone, a single pillar crumbles under pressure. Together, they withstand storms. The same is true for you. You don't have to carry everything alone. Build your bridge, strengthen your pillars, find those who remind you of your worth when you forget, and in turn, be that pillar for someone else. Take a moment and ask yourself, who do you turn to when life shakes you? If your answer is no one, it's time to change that. Reach out, reconnect, and if someone has been your pillar, tag them below. Let them know they are the strength that keeps you standing. Because real strength isn't standing alone, it's standing together. Rule 3. Growth demands struggle. A young warrior once sought the wisdom of a Buddhist master. I want to be strong, he said, but I fear pain. The master led him to a blacksmith's forge where a blade was being shaped. Watch, the master said. The sword was plunged into fire, hammered relentlessly, then cooled in water again and again. "Why do you torture the metal?" the warrior asked. The blacksmith smiled. "Without the fire, it remains weak. Without the hammer, it never sharpens." Growth demands struggle. But in today's world, struggle is something people run from. You seek comfort, avoiding hardship at all costs. You numb pain with distractions, escape fear through excuses, and hesitate when life calls you to step up. But Buddhism teaches that pain is not the enemy. It is the forge that strengthens you. The Buddha himself left a life of luxury because he understood this truth. Avoiding discomfort does not lead to freedom. Facing it does. Yet modern life convinces you otherwise. You scroll through endless entertainment to avoid loneliness. You stay in unfulfilling situations because change is uncomfortable. You tell yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," because facing your fears today feels too heavy. But the truth remains, nothing strong is ever forged without fire. If you avoid discomfort, you remain dull, like a blade that never meets the hammer. Every challenge you face is training. Pain is not there to break you, it is there to refine you. A monk once said, "The obstacle is the training." That fear you avoid, that struggle you resist, it is shaping you, sharpening you. Look back at your life. Every moment of true growth came from hardship, not ease. The heartbreak that made you wiser, the failure that forced you to improve, the struggle that unlocked a strength you didn't know you had. But there's a deeper lesson here. Suffering itself is not what strengthens you, it is how you respond to it. The fire doesn't make the sword, the blacksmith does. In the same way, pain doesn't define you, your actions do. Some let hardship destroy them, while others use it to forge something unbreakable. The difference? Mindset. Those who embrace discomfort as part of the process become stronger than they ever imagined. So, what is your forge? Maybe it's the fear of failure, the discomfort of change, the weight of discipline. Maybe it's a challenge you've been running from, convincing yourself that you're not ready. But the truth is, readiness comes from the doing. There is no growth without resistance, no wisdom without hardship, no mastery without struggle. The greatest version of yourself is on the other side of the challenge you fear most. So step into the fire, face the hammer, let yourself be shaped, refined, and sharpened. Because your greatest fear is the doorway to your power. And if you walk through it, nothing will ever break you again. Now, take a moment to reflect. What challenge are you avoiding that could be your greatest teacher? Share your answer below. Because acknowledging the fire is the first step in forging your strength. Rule 4. The indirect path wins. A farmer once desperately wanted his crops to grow faster. Each morning, he examined the fields, frustrated that the plants seemed to sprout too slowly. In his impatience, he decided to pull each stalk upward, hoping to speed up their growth. But by the next morning, they had all withered. The harder he forced nature, the more he destroyed it. Modern life teaches you to push harder, to grind endlessly, to force outcomes at any cost. Hustle culture glorifies sleepless nights and burnout as signs of success. You're told that if you're not forcing progress, you're falling behind. But Buddhism teaches a different truth. The most powerful forces in nature do not struggle, they flow. A river does not push through a mountain, it carves its way over time. The strongest tree in a storm is not the one that resists, but the one that bends. Yet, society convinces you that surrender means weakness. You fight battles that could be won through patience. You chase people who walk away, force success before it's time, or demand immediate results. But life does not work that way. The more you push against the natural rhythm of things, the more resistance you create. A monk once said, "A door locked from the inside cannot be kicked open. It must be unlocked with ease." Think of bamboo in a storm. It does not resist the wind. It moves with it. It bends, but never breaks. And because of this flexibility, it survives when rigid trees fall. The same principle applies to life. The more adaptable you are, the stronger you become. When plans fail, when obstacles appear, when things don't go your way, do you resist and break, or do you bend and flow? The indirect path is often the most powerful. When you force relationships, you create tension. When you chase success with desperation, it slips further away. When you demand certainty, life gives you more uncertainty. But when you trust, when you move with intention but without force, the universe responds in ways you never expected. Success, love, and wisdom come not from frantic effort, but from aligning with the natural flow of life. Patience is not inaction. Adaptability is not passivity. To move with life instead of against it requires awareness, wisdom, and trust. The river still reaches the ocean, not by pushing through mountains, but by flowing around them. You will get where you need to be, but not by force, by presence, by patience, by adjusting when needed. So, where in your life are you pushing too hard? Where are you forcing something that needs time? Take a breath. Loosen your grip. Trust the process. The universe rewards patience, not desperation. Now reflect for a moment. Where are you forcing outcomes instead of flowing? Share your thoughts below, because sometimes the fastest way forward is to stop pushing and start trusting. Rule 5. Unlock your inner potential. A young boy once found a tiny seed and asked his teacher, "What is this?" The teacher smiled and said, "Inside this seed is an entire forest." The boy frowned. "But it's so small." The teacher nodded. "Yes, but within it lies everything needed to grow. Roots, branches, shade, and endless life. It only needs the right conditions to rise." You too carry a hidden forest within you. But unlike the seed, which instinctively reaches for the sun, humans often bury their potential beneath doubt, fear, and hesitation. Society teaches you to play small, to wait for permission, to believe that your abilities are limited. But as the Buddha said, you are the master of yourself. The power you seek is not outside of you. It is already within. The question is, will you let it grow? Modern self-sabotage is subtle. It comes in the form of hesitation when opportunities arise. It whispers, "You're not ready," when you stand on the edge of something great. It convinces you that others are special, but you are ordinary. But this is an illusion. No one starts extraordinary. The difference between those who succeed and those who remain stuck is not talent, it is belief. The moment you stop waiting for permission, you reclaim your power. A lion does not ask if it is worthy to roar. The sun does not question whether it should shine, and yet humans hesitate, convinced they must earn the right to be great. But your existence is proof that you were meant to rise. The world does not benefit from your doubt, it benefits from your courage. When a seed finally breaks through the soil, it does not apologize for growing. It simply does. Think of every great figure in history, every master, every innovator, every leader. What do they have in common? It is not luck, it is not privilege. It is the moment they decided to stop listening to their fears and start acting on their potential. What could you become if you stopped hesitating? If you silenced self-doubt and moved forward without asking if you were worthy? The first step is small, just like the seed. But small steps create momentum. You don't have to transform overnight. You only have to begin. If you write one page today, you are a writer. If you take one step toward fitness, you are an athlete. If you speak your truth, you are already powerful. You don't become great later. You become great the moment you start. Your limits are illusions. Break them silently, not with words, but with action. Let your growth be your answer. You are not waiting for potential. You already have it. You are not lacking strength. You simply need to use it. And just like the seed, your forest is already within you, waiting for the moment you decide to rise. So, what's one untapped strength you're ready to unleash? Share your answer below, because the moment you recognize it, you've already begun. Rule 6. Universal suffering unites us. A man once approached the Buddha, his face etched with sorrow. "Why must I suffer?" he asked. The Buddha simply handed him a mustard seed and said, "Bring me one from a house that has never known pain." The man searched far and wide, but every home he visited carried its own burden: loss, heartbreak, struggle. He returned empty-handed, yet enlightened. "I see now," he whispered. "Suffering does not separate us. It unites us." Pain feels personal. When you struggle, it's easy to believe you are alone, that no one understands, that your burden is heavier than others. Modern life amplifies this illusion. Social media showcases curated perfection, masking the silent battles people fight. We compare our struggles to others' highlights, deepening the loneliness. But the truth is simple. Every person you meet is carrying something unseen. No one sails smoothly forever. We are all navigating the same storm, just in different boats. Suffering is a universal thread weaving humanity together. The person sitting next to you in silence may be drowning in self-doubt. The stranger who snapped at you may be grieving. The colleague who seems distant might be fighting battles you'll never know. When you realize this, something shifts. You stop seeing suffering as isolation and start seeing it as connection. Your struggles do not make you separate. They make you human. In Buddhist philosophy, compassion begins when we recognize our shared suffering. This is why monks cultivate loving kindness, a practice of extending warmth even to those who have wronged them. Not because they excuse the pain, but because they understand. Hurt people hurt others. Everyone is carrying wounds, and if we respond to suffering with more suffering, the cycle never ends. But if we respond with understanding, we break free. Think of a time you were deeply hurt. In that moment, what did you need most? Harshness or kindness? Judgment or understanding? Now, consider this. Someone, somewhere, is feeling that same pain right now. What if you could be the person who offers them what you once needed? What if your struggle is not just a burden, but a bridge? Your suffering is not a weakness, it is your superpower. The things you have survived give you the ability to understand, to empathize, to lift others who are still lost in the dark. The hardest moments of your life were not meaningless. They were shaping you into someone stronger, someone who can now turn pain into purpose. When we stop believing our suffering makes us separate, we become unshakable. We stop seeking escape and start seeking connection. We stop resenting struggle and start learning from it. We begin to see that behind every smile, every strong exterior, there is a human being just like us, yearning for the same peace, fighting the same battles, carrying the same invisible weight. So, how can your pain connect you to others? Instead of hiding it, use it. Speak, listen, understand. Let it open your heart, not close it. Because when you recognize that no one is truly alone, neither are you. Rule 7. Become a peaceful warrior. A wise warrior was once asked, "What is the secret to your strength?" He smiled and pointed to the ocean. "Do you see how the waves crash endlessly against that lighthouse? Yet the lighthouse never moves. That is strength, not in attacking the storm, but in standing firm through it." Modern life convinces us that strength means aggression, fighting louder, pushing harder, proving ourselves at every turn. But true power is not found in force, it is found in stillness. The greatest warriors in history understood this. The samurai, the monks, the sages, they did not fight recklessly. They mastered themselves first. As the Buddha said, "It is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles." But today, passivity has become the default. People suppress their voices, avoid conflict, and silence their instincts to keep the peace. But peace does not come from avoidance, it comes from resolve. There is a difference between being calm and being weak. A river may look gentle, but it carves mountains over time. A tree may sway in the wind, but its roots grip deep. You are not here to be pushed around by life. You are here to anchor yourself so deeply in your truth that no storm can uproot you. Anxiety often comes from hesitation, knowing what you need to do but fearing action. The mind spins in circles, creating battles that never needed to exist. A peaceful warrior does not allow indecision to control them. They act not out of rage, but out of clarity. They choose their battles wisely. They stand their ground when necessary and let go when it serves them. Strength is not in clenching your fists, but in knowing when to open your hands. Where in your life are you hesitating? What truth are you afraid to stand behind? Perhaps it is setting boundaries in a toxic relationship. Perhaps it is speaking up for what you believe in. Perhaps it is finally committing to the discipline that will shape your future. The peaceful warrior does not wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They plant their flag in the ground and say, "This is where I stand." Think of the lighthouse in the storm. The waves will always come: criticism, setbacks, doubt. You cannot control the storm, but you can control your response. Will you sway with every gust of wind, or will you become the unmoving guide others look to? A peaceful warrior does not react, they respond. They do not seek battles, but they do not run from them either. They understand that life will test them, and they welcome the challenge. Because they know. Strength is not in how loud you roar, it is in how deeply you stand. So, where do you need to plant your warrior flag today? What battle have you been avoiding? Take a deep breath. Stand firm. Act with calm resolve. Because the moment you stop being afraid of the storm, you become the lighthouse that others will follow. Bonus rule: anchor in impermanence. A king once asked a wise monk, "What is the secret to unshakable peace?" The monk handed him a ring inscribed with 4 simple words, "This too shall pass." The king was puzzled. "How does this bring peace?" The monk smiled. "Because whether you are in joy or sorrow, success or failure, this truth remains: nothing lasts forever. Cling too tightly and suffering follows. Let go and you become free." Life is always shifting. Relationships change. Money comes and goes. Even the body you call yours is not the same as it was 10 years ago. And yet, we resist this truth. We try to hold on to moments, to people, to certainty. But what happens when you grip sand too tightly? It slips through your fingers. The more you cling, the less you control. Buddhism teaches that impermanence is not a curse. It is liberation. If nothing stays the same, that means no pain is permanent. No failure defines you forever. No storm lasts eternally. But the opposite is also true. No success will remain untouched. No moment of joy is forever. This is why attachment leads to suffering. When we believe something must stay the same to keep us happy, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The world will change, whether we accept it or not. But there is something that does not change. Your core, your values, the mountain beneath the shifting seasons. A mountain is battered by rain, snow, and wind. The leaves on its trees will wither, and new ones will grow. But beneath the surface, its foundation remains unshaken. In the same way, the events of life will alter your circumstances, but they do not have to alter who you are. If you anchor yourself in what truly matters, your integrity, your purpose, your inner stillness, then no external chaos can shake you. Most people seek stability in the wrong places. They anchor themselves in money, status, relationships, things outside their control. But when those things shift, they feel lost. The unshakable ones, the truly peaceful ones, root themselves in something deeper. They know that they are not their successes nor their failures. They are not defined by temporary storms. They are the sky, vast and unchanging, while the clouds drift by. The mind will resist this lesson. It wants certainty, security, guarantees. But ask yourself, how much of your suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable? How much peace could you have if you let go of the illusion of permanence? What if, instead of fearing change, you embraced it? Master this, and no external chaos will break you. You will move through life like water, flowing around obstacles instead of shattering against them. You will welcome both joy and pain, knowing that neither is forever. And when storms come, you will not cling in desperation. You will stand like the mountain, grounded in your truth, watching as the seasons change, unshaken, unwavering, free. Quick summary of the 7 rules. Balance the mind and body. Modern life fractures focus and drains energy. True stability comes from nurturing both mental clarity and physical health. Ignoring one creates imbalance. Harmonizing them builds unshakable resilience. Growth demands struggle. Avoiding pain weakens you. Strength is forged by facing challenges head-on. Every obstacle is a lesson in disguise. Suffering isn't the enemy, resistance to it is. Interdependence is strength. Isolation amplifies stress. True power comes from leaning on others and offering support in return. Even monks rely on community. You're not meant to fight alone. The indirect path wins. Force often backfires. Success comes through adaptability, not brute effort. Bend like bamboo, persistence without rigidity. Unlock your inner potential. Self-doubt is a cage. You already hold the tools to greatness. Stop waiting for permission to use them. Universal suffering unites us. Your pain isn't unique. Recognizing shared struggles dissolves loneliness and builds compassion. Become a peaceful warrior. Courage isn't aggression. True strength lies in calm resolve, standing firm in chaos without losing your humanity. Which rule reshaped your perspective? Comment below and share one step you'll take today to become unshakable. The Buddha said, "You are the sky. Everything else is just the weather." These rules aren't theories. They're mirrors. They reflect the storm inside you and the stillness waiting beneath it. Every moment of stress, doubt, or fear is an invitation to ask, am I reacting to the weather, or remembering I am the sky? Zen masters teach that the obstacle is the path. Rule 2 isn't about surviving pain, it's about alchemizing it. Your darkest struggles are the raw material for your unshakable self. What if your anxiety isn't a flaw, but a signal to rise? Modern life sells quick fixes, but Rule 4 whispers a dangerous truth. Slow down. The indirect path isn't weakness, it's strategy. Bamboo survives hurricanes because it knows when to bend. Where are you rigid when you should be fluid? Rule 7's call to become a peaceful warrior flips society's script. Violence to others or yourself isn't strength. True power? A mind so calm it silences chaos. A heart so steady it outlasts storms. The lotus blooms in mud, not marble. These rules are your mud. Your pain, doubts, and battles are the soil for your awakening. The question isn't, can I be unshakable? It's, will I choose to be? If this video stirred something in you, don't let it fade. Like, share, and drop your biggest takeaway in the comments. Your words might light someone else's path. And subscribe to Deep Wisdom for timeless truths to navigate modern chaos. Remember, a single candle can light 1,000 others. Be that candle.